I am Deacon Brian Cordeiro. I have been married 31 years to my wife Effie, and we have 3 sons, Andre Joseph, who is 22 years old, Pierre Bosco, who is 21, and Janvieni, 19 years old. I was born in Goa, India, and Goa is a colony that was colonized by the Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama in the 15th century and was evangelized by that great Jesuit saint Francis Xavier in the 16th century. And so Goans are Catholics since the last 500 years. Well, faith is a lens by which we look out into the world. It actually gives us an idea of who we are and what our world looks like. People who do not have faith look at the world in a different way from those of us who have faith. We who believe in Jesus Christ know that there is a world after this one. We also know that we have a loving Abba, Father, somebody who looks after us all the time. And this is something that we need to keep in our faith journey. Faith is not just a theoretical term. It is a lived experience. The experience and events of my life affect my faith. So what has been my own lived experience? I was educated by the Jesuits between grade 5 and 11. And I was always taught to be the very best at what I do. So I was quite successful in my studies at school, at university, doing my chartered accountancy, and then in my career. I began to think that I could do anything I wanted to do, achieve anything I wanted to achieve. And God would accompany me. Well, God had to teach me one thing. There are some events where things can come to pass only if He intervenes. Which brings me to the question, what am I, an Anglophone Goan born in India and the only son of my parents, doing in Montreal? I think the credit for that one goes to Brother Andre and Saint Joseph. My wife and I were married in 1981. In 1982, we moved to Bahrain in the Middle East. And then in 85, we moved to Abu Dhabi in the Emirates, the United Arab Emirates. And so we spent about 7 years in the Middle East. We wanted to have children like any Catholic couple right away, but God had other plans. And so 1 year went, 2 years went, and the years went by, and the anxiety and the stress built up. Well, 5 years after we got married, a doctor prescribed a wrong medication to boost fertility in my wife, and that caused major problems. She suffered from bleeding and endometriosis and a lot of pain over 2 years, and she had 2 surgeries. And in the second surgery in 1988, she lost an ovary and a tube, and the other ovary was very massively damaged. Our hopes of having children were dashed right away. So we decided to immigrate to Canada because we did not want to go back to India without children. It had been our practice to pray in every church that we visited for the first time, to pray for children. We had done this in Rome, we had done this in Paris, London, to name a few cities. We came to Montreal in 1989, and we were living very close to the oratory at that time. We took a walk to the oratory, entered it, and we saw all the crutches there of people who had been cured. And we prayed that day to Brother Andre for his intercession through Saint Joseph for having children. My eldest son, Andre Joseph, is conceived on that day, that very day. And we went on to have 3 sons, 1990, 91, and 92, all after doctors had given up any hope of my wife conceiving a child. Through this one event, God showed me that unless He had intervened, it was impossible for us, my wife and I, to have children. God works in powerful ways in each of our lives. He works in your life and in mine. It is for us to realize that He is a loving Father and He gives us the very best that we can have, even though it's hard to realize it sometimes as we go through the hard times. Our challenge is to let Him be the Father and let Him do in us the work that He wants to do. I ask each of you to recall and to relive the events in your life where God has really touched you. It will boost your faith and it will help you to witness to those around you. Witnessing to your faith is the best way to evangelize people. It is the essential ingredient of new evangelization. May God bless you in your walk of faith.